You mentioned you were one of 10 women in a division of how many
About 100 people. Yeah.
in this industry that is often very male dominated. And I
Yeah.
had an experience that was similar in the hospitality industry where the chefs and the operators that we were serving were like fun and interesting and creative and progressive. And then the industry that I was a part of that was servicing this really cool progressive side of the business was very much like an old boys club, right? It was very like relationships matter. And oftentimes what that meant was I've known this person more years than you. And so
Yeah.
I have a better relationship when that wasn't really the truth. And I came to find that out and prove that that wasn't the case fairly quickly. But like this kind of the word that's coming to my mind is stodgy, and I
Yeah.
don't know that that's totally fair, but that's kind of the way that I describe the industry on the hospitality side. This was specific to what I was doing, but I'm really curious. I want you to talk a little bit about like being a woman in a man's world and a man's industry.
Yeah. Especially, when we were those first few years where you're in a grocery store, like in the back room of a grocery store where it's like truck drivers that are delivering and those that are, receiving the product, like a lot of them are men and white men. And so, there were moments where you just kind of I just wanted to kind of get through it. And, like I remember wearing like a fake wedding ring because there was like one of the soda guys would always be like, so when are we getting married? When are we getting married? Like that kind of like innocent, but still harassment. You're like, I'm still
Yeah.
doing my job, man. Like we don't even work in the same
Yeah.
company. And some of them were cultural differences where they're like, I don't do business with women. Like it's in my culture that I don't. And so I'm like, how am I? I'm still held to the same goal and same standard as the guy next to me. And yet I have these, obstacles. Like, how do we overcome this when, how do I tell this guy, like, I'm your sales rep? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So that made it hard because you're leaning on the guys, your friends, and they don't totally get it. And so I missed the cohort. And then there were other women that were there that their work ethic was different, of a different era, let's just say. And so they just had a different set of expectations of what it took to do business, where I was like, I'm not sacrificing my values for
Yeah.
that. So there were moments where I was like, is this really for me? Like, is this really? But honestly, like what pushed me was like, I can do this. I can do this better than all of you. And I will show you how I'm going to do it my way. And there were moments where they put me in a territory that was predominantly Hispanic. So that was a big lever for me to use. And so I
Hmm.
sold better than the guy before me because Pavana spoke Spanish and he and I like, chatted up and he bought from me because of that. And so I'm trying to figure out like, how can I connect? Like, what do I need to connect? And I remember having a buyer who was, gosh, he was a crabby guy. But somehow I figured out that his daughter played volleyball for a local college. And so I was like, hey, I heard that the game, like I heard about the game. Like I just did like a quick search online and that like lit him up because I took an interest in what was important to him, which was his kid, who was like an awesome sports player. So I
Yeah.
and that helps sometimes when you're like, okay, like we're humans. They care about something, like how do we get to that? Like at the end of the day, we're just selling boxes. Like it's just, I used to have a boss that she would say, we sell crushed grapes. Nobody's dying on the table. Like this isn't that serious. Like it just, it's boxes of
Yeah.
wine, boxes of booze, but we are in the people business. So how do we engage with people and empathize that, maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're just other challenges. Maybe they're just crabby because we're all in this grocery store together. Like, I don't know. And
Right.
Mariah Carey has played 40 times this holiday season. Like it just,
Yeah.
how do you meet people where they're at is, I think, what helped me kind of make it through. And then when I left the distributor and went on the supplier side, like it was a totally different set of priorities, different set of, what it takes to win. And, I made sure that I always led with facts and figures. And even when, it came to the end of my time there, it was like, here's what we agreed upon. Here are the measures. Here, like, you got to keep it to facts because that's what's going to get you to the end. Because that not everybody can rely on charisma. Statistically, women are judged on their past experience versus their future potential. And so you have to bring those receipts because those are the unconscious and subconscious biases that play a role. And I learned how to try and, make it as far as I could with that until a point came where I was like, okay, I'm tired. I want to do something else.